Hey everybody, welcome back to the Shovel Knight playthrough. In this part...
Plague Knight!
We'll get to him. We'll definitely get to him. First, we're gonna prepare ourselves by... handing in...
By singing a jovial tune.
Yeah.
I think almost every game in existence has that moment in the middle where you realize you're going to have to replay something that you didn't like the first time around, so you just sort of spin your wheels for a little while, putting it off.
Oh, actually, what I'm doing for this playthrough is I am upgrading my magic first, because I'll use my magic before I use any of those other armors, I realize.
Armors that you're not going to use.
So, yeah. Because, like, when you're playing the game for the first time, you do want to mess around with the other armors, but if I'm playing this game, I'm usually using the Dynamo Mail. So,
You mean you're not doing the gold armor? Sparkly, pricey, useless.
You'll see. I do get all the armors, so you'll see once we play later on. Yeah, so I don't know what necessarily causes the spawns for these extra levels, other than just beating the stage that's in them. Like, I know that this doesn't spawn until
I think it's being the stage that they're in and then going into something else.
It might be. I know that some stuff is dependent on actual playtime, because one thing, the game has actually been changed to accommodate speedrunners, oddly enough. Speedrunners complained about certain situations where they would be forced to run into one of the boss fights. So what Yacht Club did was, if I might be messing this up, so if anybody's more familiar with how this works in the comments, please feel free... Oh, wait, what am I saying? You've already corrected me. Anyway, if you get through certain parts of the game fast enough, the bosses won't spawn. They won't spawn right away, so that you can speedrun.
I was actually a bit puzzled by that complaint, but then I realized, oh, they're complaining about being forced to deal with random stuff.
Yeah,
okay.
Because the bosses, because the bosses will walk random places on the map, and if the
basically
boss
Mario
spawns,
3 style.
If the boss spawns right in front of a boss that they need to fight, then they're gonna have to go into the boss room, and that wastes at least like 30 seconds.
Yeah. Speedrunners hate stuff that wastes time that they can't predict and find a way around, or just work into their game plan.
Yeah, so they've changed how these things spawn. I believe they've also changed the paths for some things. Like, I believe one of the random walking monster enemies will not walk in front of the village anymore. So that was something that they changed. But yeah, it's interesting to see them actually keep track on this, because it's not like people do glitchless runs of Shovel Knight.
Well,
there are glitches where you can skip entire rooms.
It's interesting to see them make these kinds of changes, but at the same time, that kind of stuff has become a lot more common. I mean, there's a lot of cynical grumbling about the pitfalls of the day one patch culture, where games aren't necessarily finished by the time they ship. But a lot of developers have done some pretty classy things with free updates. I mean, one of the easy examples is the extended cut in Mass Effect 3, but there's also stuff like The Witcher 3 has an entire alternate movement scheme in the options menu now for people who thought that the original movement controls were too weighty.
It's interesting. Like, I get why people don't like day one updates, because then you install the game and then you have to install the update, and it's annoying. I'd rather them do something while waiting for the game to actually make it to store shelves.
That too. It kind of comes down to the mindset of the developer versus the mindset of the publisher, though, because it's the publisher who wants the game out by a certain time, 9 times out of 10, and it's their decision when the game comes out. Whereas, if you're a developer and you're putting so much time and effort into making this thing, you kind of want it to come out right. So
yeah, but you also, this was an indie game, so they also need the game to be out eventually, because they made the game on a relatively small budget. Actually a very small budget when you compare to how successful the game was. So, they were barely getting by the time the game was coming out. So it's just like, okay, at some point you need to release the game so you get some of that money back,
So you can put food on your table.
Yeah. Okay, here's, Plague Knight stage.
The Explodatorium.
So, honestly, I feel like this stage should have been in Tier 3 and should have been swapped with Tinker Knight stage, personally, because this stage is hard. Like,
difficulty spike.
Yes, very. Part of it is that there's so many things in this area that do a full bubble of damage to you. Like, you see I've got a half bubble of damage right now.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. On the other hand, though, I don't necessarily think levels should always be ordered strictly easiest to hardest. I think there is value in having a relaxing, easier level in the middle of a difficulty rise. I would have to play this level myself to see whether or not it constitutes as a truly obnoxious difficulty spike.
There's a lot of things, like there's the exploding bats, there's the birds dropping bombs on your head, triple jumps, the fire spouts that do a lot of damage. It's just that when I find Ticker Knight easier than this, like not much easier, but slightly easier. So I would rather, and I get what you're saying, but in this case, you've got the first chunk of levels, the second chunk of levels, and the third chunk of levels. So in general, they should be around the same difficulty. Like, I'm sure that everybody would agree that Mole Knight's easier than Plague Knight. So there should be an easier level out of the three, but I feel like the second set of levels should be easier. All of them should be easier than the third set of levels.
Overall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not that this is egregious. It's not going to be like Ghosts and Goblins or anything like that.
Yeah.
But,
the other thing is that part of the charm of the non-linear level progression that the Mega Man style brings to it is not necessarily knowing which levels are harder or easier the first time you play.
That's always bothered me about Mega Man,
like,
though.
everyone on the internet tells you exactly what order you should fucking play Mega Man 2 in. To the point where I have no, like, mystery. There's no mystery left for me to actually want to play Mega Man 2 in the first place.
Well, that's just the repercussions of being such an old game.
Yeah. It's kind of like when you've played the game so long, you kind of forget that part of the allure of that first playthrough was figuring that stuff out.
Yeah. So anyway, there was a secret passage up there that I had to get.
That you need to kill yourself. That you need to go kill yourself.
Yep, because you had to blow up the rat.
Fuck. Did you just jump into that pit?
Yeah, because I missed.
Yeah, you killed himself because he had.
Yeah, you see the rats there. They explode when you kill them, and you see that block all the way in the top right. That leads to a secret passage, and the only way to get that as Shovel Knight is to do that, to blow it up with the rat. So I wouldn't be able to get this treasure chest, and I believe there is a music note in there, so if I wanted 100%, I needed to go for that. So
that platform arrangement just looked annoying. Like, not challenging, just annoying.
Yeah, it's nerve-wracking because they go pretty fast, and it's a weird cycle.
It's the kind of bullshit Slippery Climb does.
It's a weird cycle, yeah. Also, love the orbs. Hate these rats, but I love the orbs. Yeah. So, yeah, Plague Knight, I don't know, like, this is your favorite song in the game, John?
Yeah, well, one of the favorite songs. It's the one I immediately can think of when I go back to the game.
Not that it's bad, it's just strange, you know? Oh. Okay, whatever. Bad taste confirmed. Okay.
Looks like I can't help it if you have such shit opinions, Ted.
Okay. That 30 gold is...
That was a joke, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, no, it wasn't. Okay, but yeah, so I thought I probably could have just skipped that 30 gold, but I can never remember, even though I played this game at least 10 times, I can never remember what is and isn't a hidden platform. God.
Okay, yeah, this is starting to look a bit too precise for mid-game.
Yeah, especially when you've got these things that can push you up into the instant death spikes.
Face Locket is your friend.
Yeah, okay, so I'm moving around a little bit strangely here. What's going on is I'm mistaking this part of the level for a different part of the level where you're supposed to...
Where you have to get on top.
Yeah, using...
What you actually don't need to get on top of it to get that music note.
You don't? How can you do
No.
it?
If you spam the phase locket really precisely, you can sort of fidget yourself over to get it, which I did.
Oh, that's really funny, but
we'll show it when we get there.
In a later part of the level, you're supposed to shovel bounce onto that guy to get up top. And you can do that here, and it saves a little bit of time, and you don't have to, like, fidget around underneath these things. But, yeah, so...
You want the gold now, so...
No.
Oh, you're just leaving it.
Well, I'm checking to see if there's anything up there so I can get it before going for the gold.
Fishing rod.
So I'm like... So here at this point, I'm thinking, oh, that was a waste of time.
No, there's no reason to be up there.
Yeah. But yeah, Phase Locket is your friend. It is your friend. I don't think that there's any crushing deaths. No, there are crushing deaths, but not on those things. So.
Do you really want to find that
well,
out?
I
think they ended up nerfing the locket future releases or patches.
They did?
So I believe it costs more.
It costs more? I didn't notice that.
Yeah.
That's not necessarily a nerf per se, but you know, makes it harder to get the thing that makes things too easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, a nerf.
Yeah.
No. A nerf. A nerf would be making the actual locket less effective once you had it.
Well, it's you get less uses of it, which does keep people from spamming it as much. Because like you can.
Oh, you mean more expensive as in to use
the magic
with
uses,
magic
yeah.
meter? Okay, yeah, okay, yeah, that's a nerf.
Yeah,
I thought you meant more expensive to get.
Oh no, I mean, if they had increased it how expensive it was to buy from Chester, that would have been like one thing. But like honestly, again, you still are going to have at least 10k extra gold at the end of the game. So it's not really that big of a deal, all things considered. But yeah, speaking of sub-weapons, though, the alchemy coin I never use, like except for that one room. But
well, because there's rarely ever a sequence of a lot of enemies just randomly on a straight path.
Yeah, especially small ones, because that's the thing about it is the more enemies.
Why did you leave that one gem behind?
Because I didn't feel like dealing with it. Basically, that's the short version. But
it was right there.
It was it like blue or something?
Careful, Lewis, your klepto is showing.
Yeah.
You know, I'm gonna record DuckTales and not collect a fucking thing.
Oh, get the bad ending?
Yeah.
The bad ending that's actually harder to get than the best ending?
Oh, like Luigi's Mansion.
Yeah, I believe, yeah, there is an ending in DuckTales where you get, like, no money, and, like, Scrooge is dirt poor at the end, if I remember correctly. And...
Yeah, if you go off the little fire pillars there, you can use the face locket to slowly descend and fidget yourself closer to that music note and get it.
Huh, okay. Well, that's good to know. Usually I don't have too much problem getting on top there, so it's not...
No, but just in case.
Yeah. This boss I never have issues with, so I had no...
No, this mini-boss is pathetically easy.
Yeah, especially since... Well, the one thing is that if once he turns into his monster form here, it can be tricky to try to like, stay on top of him.
Wait. It's Dr. Embryo.
Sure.
It's literally
I was in the
Embryo.
first game!
Smack him with your large man hand.
My name sounds like a fetus.
Yeah,
line
that was
funny.
the joke to begin with.
No, it's like in one of the later Tattoo Crash games, Embryo himself says that.
He's the only redeeming thing of that
It's
game.
like it took him like the entire series to notice his own name was a pun.
Yeah, and then when someone says that he doesn't know who he is, he yells, "I was in the first game!"
Yeah, they wrote that character pretty damn good. Actually, I watched most like a fair chunk of the cutscenes from that particular game, and it's a weird style choice, but Mind Over Mutant has some interesting writing.
When I was playing this... Oh, wait, no, there's the... damn it!
Glad
You
to know
panicked.
that old 8-bit relic is still part of the design philosophy.
Actually, no, you can't get an armor that gets rid of knockback.
Yeah, but you have more momentum when you walk around, basically.
Yeah.
So you kind of, like, it's permanent ice physics, but you don't take knockback.
The Butterfeet, yeah.
Yeah, so actually,
Luigi.
one interesting thing about the Shovel Knight is that Plague Knight has more knockback than Shovel Knight, to the point where some hits as Shovel Knight would knock you into a pit. When you're Plague Knight, the extended knockback
Knockback
knocks
gets you over the pit.
over the
Doesn't
pit.
it?
Yeah. So that was done on purpose, actually. So it's actually fuck trying to do this without getting hurt. Phase lock it all the
Really,
way.
I can do that, no problem.
You need to play more Donkey Kong Country.
Oh no,
Yeah.
Donkey
You
Kong
basically
Country's
need
boring.
to jump the moment before the flames come out.
Yeah,
and then
but it's
land the moment
it's
they
a
come.
very tight cycle.
Yeah, it's
So-
a very precise challenge there.
And it's interesting how Shovel Knight jumps, where while you do go higher when you hold down the jump button, it's not like Mario where it's like it's kind of variable. There's like a small jump, a medium jump, and a long jump, pretty much. And I hate those little bunny rabbit things. All the enemies have a name. They're just all on the online instruction book, so I can never remember any of them.
The enclosed instruction book.
Yeah. But I hate those guys. They're annoying. Like, this is a random thing that they only bring in, like, 3/4 of the way through the level are the gooey Shovel Knight clones. It's like, okay, yeah.
Yeah, I think the other problem with this level is that it's really long compared to the other two of
It's
this tier.
probably one of the... Like, I mean, again, Shovel Knight, like, that's one of the complaints about Shovel Knight is that the levels are pretty long. I never... this is the only one to me that feels too long. Like, maybe Propeller Knight is a little bit too long, but this is, like, a good 2 checkpoints too long, I feel.
I think the reason they say that is because the expectation of 8-bit and of 8-bit games was generally shorter level design.
Yeah.
Because of space limitations. But that was a space limitation thing. It wasn't that way because the game was designed with them thinking, oh god, this is gonna make people bored. No.
Yeah, it's just a matter of what you're used to, really. Like, again, one thing about Shovel Knight is that it does have a lot of varied ideas, and it's not like one stage is built around one gimmick. There's often a lot of different elements in any given stage.
There's a gradual new introduction of new design aspects as you go through these levels.
Without ever losing itself in identity.
Yeah. Like the stage has an identity, but it's almost like a lot of games that have multiple stages within a stage set will have, like, they all share a theme, but there's gameplay differences between them. It's almost like they do that without actually breaking them up into themes.
Yeah, like a
into
Zone 1,
acts, rather.
like a
Yeah.
Act 1,
that
Act
kind
2
of
of
thing.
Sonic. Like, I'm trying to think of a good example where there's, like, well, Sandopolis is the first one that comes to mind, where you've got ghosts during the first half. Second half, sorry.
Yeah, but Sandopolis is actually a level that wore out its welcome pretty long. But that's because that particular game was built around the concept of speed. So levels taking too long or wasting your time in one specific location actually do have a bit of a knock against them in that particular style.
Yeah, but it's just kind of one of those, like, okay, you've got the mad scientist level, this half deals with this mad science thing, this half deals with the second mad science thing. Like, that doesn't feel as weird as, okay, we're gonna randomly put you in a jet ski for this level, or whatnot.
It's I guess a good way to describe it would be a sense of design continuity. Not necessarily design consistency, but continuity. Like each concept leads into another.
Yeah, that is a good way to put it, actually.
Yeah, you fish.
I believe
I'm trying to fish, jerks.
I had the wrong sub-weapon equipped, but if
Wouldn't
you
it
hit
just be
somebody with the
funny-
hook, it does do damage, though, is the funny thing.
Wouldn't it be funny if, like, you had the amulet that turns you into a ghost, and you tried to catch Shield Knight with it, and she just fell through you?
Falls right through your body.
Oh, that'd be great. Actually, no, that probably doesn't happen, but somebody should make a fan comic about it, like, now. Tier 3. We'll get to you, Tier 3. Ugh, yeah. Like, the difficulty spike from Tier 1 to Tier 2 is, I think, sharper than Tier 2 to Tier 3, but Tier 3
Although
is
that may be
hard.
although the jump from tier 2 to tier 3 may be because of Plague Knight.
Yeah, because the end of tier 2 makes you a man.
I think it also has a lot to do with, by the time you get to Tier 2, you can actually get upgrades to all your stuff. So it's like you have more to work with in Tier 3 at the start of Tier 3 than you have to at the start of Tier 2, you know? So it's not like you're missing out on so much stuff where it's just like, okay, I gotta get through one of these levels before I can get myself upgraded. Yeah. Oh, I think it might have been there.
You've achieved maximum butt.
Yeah. Yeah.
What the fuck? Catapult?
Yeah, it allows
takes
you
you
to
to the outpost.
Once you get to Tier 3, these catapults start appearing, and it allows you to quickly travel from one town area to the next, which speeds up your backtracking time, which I appreciate. And you have to use one of them if you want to get that
music note.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, so the red armor, I usually... Yeah, here I'm going to switch back to the silver armor for no money, so... I am glad that they do that, but most of the time the red armor is very good for an early playthrough when you don't know what you're doing, so you can save money in some of the harder levels, but once you get good at the game, get good, Dark Souls, you're going to want to do... I like the Dynamo Mail the best. I know that a lot of speedruns like the purple magic mail because that doubles your magic, but it also
And,
makes you take
yeah.
twice the damage too.
Oh,
so.
it's
Yeah, but in
Proto Man
speedrun,
mode.
if you're speedrunning, you're not taking unnecessary damage anyway. So
Yeah.
True enough. I like gold armor. I like flips.